All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day of SaberSim's DFS office hours. It is January 4th of 2023, a Wednesday here. We got a big 12-game NBA slate on tap tonight after the short slate yesterday, as well as a 3-game NHL slate. No Thursday night football this week. Football will be on Saturday. So no NFL showdown on Thursday. Unfortunately, we will have to wait till Saturday. But good news, golf will be kicking off. Start of the PGA season here. Team has been hard at work working on our golf model, updating it, making upgrades, making sure that it is a well-oiled machine for the new year. So if you are interested in learning more about the upgrades to the golf model, Jordan, previous host of Office Hours here, will be doing a show with Will and Eric from our models team at 5 p.m. Eastern today. Do not miss it. If you are a PGA player, you have questions, you want to learn more about what goes into the model for golf over here at SaberSim, that is going to be a great time to ask any questions to the people who work on it day in, day out, building it, know all the ins and outs of the model. So if you guys have questions related to golf, you guys can throw them in the Office Hours channel or the golf sports channel in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, there's a link in the description below to get joined up. Highly recommend that as always. That way you can get your questions answered in regards to PGA strategy, right? So tune into that 5 p.m. Eastern later today, right here on the SaberSim YouTube channel, and then we will post it on all of our podcast platforms for anybody listening after the fact. But that being said, wanted to make sure I made that announcement so everybody could be aware of that. If you were not previously, gonna get the SaberSim app pulled up here. Just a couple questions to get us started. So if you have questions, now is a great time to throw them in the YouTube chat or the Discord. As always, we get to all the questions before the end of the show. Quick one here from Neil. Neil asked, when is the end of the season free roll for the mini max challenge? If you guys hear regularly talking about the max challenge, week 18 is upon us. One more main slate left for the NFL season. I don't know exactly when the free roll will be. I know that after the week 18 ends next Monday, or might be Sunday. I don't know if there's Monday Night Football with the national championship on Monday, but once week 18 concludes, we have to make sure that we have all our ducks in a row, make sure everybody is accounted for, and then we will do the free roll. So more communication to come on that, but we plan on doing it within probably hopefully by the end of next week we can have everything sorted out and do the end of the season free roll. But we will make a bigger announcement when that is more ironed out. All right, next question here from Fern Dog. Question says, Andrew, when we review our lineups, whether it is 100 lineups or 500, what can we look for to see what lineups are scoring better than others? Can we look at SaberScore, ownership, etc., or do these things just change every day? I am just trying to see if I have 500 lineups, which ones I can give greater preference to. This is a good question for a dog. Definitely worth covering. I think that, you kind of alluded to it when you said, do these things change every day, right? I think that's really important. One day, a 1 day sample size is really so small, right? So, if you go back and look at maybe you've been playing NFL all season, right? And you go over to the main slate and you look at what you did last week, and you notice in your pool of 500 lineups that a QB +3 was the highest scoring lineup, right? So then, what do you take away from that, right? Are you now going to go and play only QB +3 lineups because that lineup was the highest scoring lineup? So you think that playing more of those type of lineups will give you a better chance of recreating that event, right? Just saying that out loud doesn't make a ton of sense to me, right? A lot of lineups could have a high score. There could be other constructions that you don't have in your 500 lineups that get you to a better score, right? Maybe a QB. I mean, really, the optimal lineup is probably more often than not a small stack or unstacked, right? If you were to go into the actuals, pick every player that scored the highest, there's a chance that it could be a stack, but more often than not, it's not, right? But we don't need the optimal lineup to win most classic slate contests, right? So I feel like I'm starting to go in circles a little bit here, but basically what I'm saying is that 500 lineups is, at the end of the day, 500 lineups, when you can build, millions of different types of lineups on an NFL main slate, is still just like a bite-sized sample, right? So I think trying to draw too many conclusions from that, and then taking this very concentrated, very high risk profile approach is probably the wrong thing to do. I think a better thing that you can do from looking at your entire pool of 500 lineups is something that we've mentioned on this show before, and I know we've got some positive feedback from it from other people. Is that take a contest that you're playing consistently. Maybe you're doing the max challenge, maybe you are playing the mini max every week for the entire season, right? We're gonna build 500 lineups here really quickly. Look at the actual scores from the mini max after the contest finishes, right? See what the top 1% score is. So if the mini max has 250,000 entries, look at what the score is for the person that came in the 2,500th place, right? That would be 1% of mini max contest. Look what that score is, and then go to your pool and see how many lineups scored over or under that mark in your pool of lineups, right? If you are looking at 500 lineups, you would want to have 5 lineups that beat that score. That would mean that, if you have 5 lineups out of 500 that are at or above that score, then that is consistent with the field, right? If you have more lineups than that actual score at that 1% threshold in your pool, that is good. That means that the pool of lineups that you are building is stronger than the pool of lineups that the field has, right? So not really sure why my build didn't finish here. I'm going to do a hard refresh and try running that again. But basically, I think the more important thing is, like, it is really hard to, know what lineup in your pool is going to score the most points and get that into your contests, right? Near impossible. If we knew what lineups were going to score the most points, we would just give those to you at the top of the pool, right? Unfortunately, we don't. We try and estimate it using SaberScore, but it doesn't always work out, right? So the more realistic thing to do is try and build a strong pool of lineups every single time you play, and play a lot of lineups and a lot of contests, and don't skip slates, and just be very consistent with your playing, with your number of unique lineups, with not skipping slates, and that will give you more opportunities to get those lineups that are above that threshold into your contests. And if you are consistently building 10 lineups that meet that 1% threshold, so that would mean you're doing 2% of your lineups into the top 1% of your pool. The more you play, the more you build, the more consistent you are, those lineups are going to find their way into your contests. And I think that is a better measure of, is what you're doing good and how do you get to those results, right? A lot of times people come in the show like, hey, I had a really high score in my pool that would have won a contest, but it wasn't in my lineups. That sucks. And like, yeah, it does suck. But like, I'm telling you guys, if you are consistent and you kind of follow these guidelines, like, those lineups will find their way into your contest. You got to be patient. You got to be diligent, day in, day out, and just keep working hard, and those results will come. Promise you guys that. And Clint here said, and bankroll management. Yes, bankroll management. First and foremost, Fern Dog, if you're not familiar with our DFS profit plan, you can find it over on our YouTube channel. It is a great tool and definitely helps to, or not a tool, but more of like a strategy, helps to smooth out variance over the long term, so you can get to those times where you do indeed get those lineups into your contest. So if you're not familiar with that, I'm just going to pull it up really quickly here. And if you go over to our YouTube channel and you go over to the homepage, there is a new here, start here first section. And this start winning more with our DFS profit plan, 17-minute video. Highly recommend checking it out. A lot of positive feedback from that. I use it myself and really enjoy it. All right, gonna get SaberSim pulled back up here. Jumping over to YouTube chat, and got a question here. Says, so you have to have SaberSim to win. This is a good question, right? So the easy answer is no, you don't, right? There are plenty of people who do not sign up to SaberSim that win in DFS, right? And we have competitors, right? There's the stochastic guys, there's the ETR guys, there's the RotoGrinder guys. We are partnered with RunPure, so RunPure uses SaberSim as its builder. There are plenty of people who have their own software and models that they use to build lineups. There are probably people that build a couple lineups by hand that have won over the long term, right? So you definitely do not need SaberSim to win. But I think the better point is that we believe that having SaberSim and using SaberSim gives you an edge over these other players in your contest using traditional optimizers, building by hand, the ability to better simulate actual range of outcomes and not assume players are normally distributed, and understand what an actual range of outcome looks like for an individual player is a huge edge. And knowing who does well when one player does well, who does bad when one player does well, being able to juggle correlation, ownership fade, and sim diversity all together is just a huge advantage. The builder makes it so easy, and the time savings for having positive EV lineups in your contest is just a massive time saver. And I think that if you could build good lineups in a short amount of time, like that is what you want, right? You want to build your lineups, you want to have a chance at winning your contest night in, night out, and you don't want to spend all day on it, right? You go to work, long day of work, you want to build some lineups, you want to have a sweat, have something to root for throughout the night. I think SaberSim is a great tool for doing all those things. You don't have to program a bunch of rules into a traditional optimizer to tell it what to do and what not to do. SaberSim, we do a lot of back testing on our sliders, trying to help the builder understand what it takes to win different types of contests for different entry sizes, for different entry sizes, different entry limits. I would highly recommend checking this out. We have a 7-day, no strings attached free trial, which you can check out in the description below. So check us out. You don't have to stay on, but this show is Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern. You can ask any question you want about the software, about strategy. That is what I am here for. So that is my, elevator pitch on SaberSim. So check us out. All right. Aaron said, any update on the prop betting side? I love DFS and still play, but since it's legal here in Maryland, beginning to focus on that more. So good question there. I do not have an update at the moment. I know that our biggest priorities right now have been getting the updated golf model out, which is out now, and golf is kicking off tomorrow. So that's going to be a big milestone for us. Still trying to firm up the late swap player pools for NBA, I think. Don't quote me on it. But after we finish the late swap pools, push those into the regular SaberSim app, that the prop plan or the prop betting stuff will be a little bit more of a priority. But more information to come on that we will definitely communicate with everybody on this who watches this show and with our users about that. All right, got a question from Grayson. What's up, Drew? How would you attack this huge NBA slate process-wise? If you are looking for content on NBA process, what I would do is I would go over to our YouTube channel, first and foremost. And then up here at the top, you can hit the search bar. Just type in NBA. Do something really, really general, okay? So this How to Beat Daily Fantasy Basketball like an NBA DFS Pro. Jordan did an interview with Max Steinberg. Max is, partner in SaberSim, high stakes pro. Took down the 250K to first 888 NBA contest last season and is always out here doing great things. Won $1 million in NFL Showdown a couple months ago. But this is a great video. We've done some office hours videos on it down here. You can check these out. Walking through an NBA process. This was something that we did last week. I would recommend this video. We had some content closer to the beginning of the NBA season, walking through NBA processes, just talking NBA strategy overall. We might have, some more NBA content on the horizon, so stay tuned for that. But I would definitely start with the video with Max and then check out some of this recent content that we just did last week, last couple months. So that is where I would start for any NBA tips. All right. Hopping back to SaberSim here. Gonna get this pulled back up. Question from DJ Sirius. I hope this is not a dumb question. There are no dumb questions on this show. For NBA, if I have 3 players picked per each position, will SaberSim give me every combination of those players, or would I have to build this in Excel via Power Query? Real quickly, Grayson said, good looking. So check those out. Come back. Let me know if you have any questions. All right, going back to this. So for NBA, if I have 3 players picked for each position, will SaberSim give me every combination of those players, or would I have to build this in Excel via Power Query? So, I can't do this like factorial in my head, but depends how many lineups you're able to build, right? So I guess depending on the plan you're on would be, you would have to do like the math to figure out how many possible lineup combinations there are with this many players. My hunch is that you would not be able to build every combination given the pool size limits, right? I think even at 5,000 lineups, that is probably too many lineups. You have, 8 positions and, like you said, you have 3 players per position. So for a total of 24 players, I'm pretty sure you can build more than 5,000 lineups with that. So if you're looking for like every single possible combination, you might have to do that in Excel. You can give it a shot. And I don't have the time to do the math right now on stream. And frankly, I don't want to. I might embarrass myself. But yeah, so maybe try it in Excel and see what that gets you. All right. Ramesses, jumping back to Discord. Question from Ramesses here. DJ Sirius said, got it. Thanks. Yep. Happy to help any way I can. Ramesses said, not a golf question, but has anything changed significantly in Saber within the past 2 weeks that would change the SaberScore score metric? In NBA, I have seen a major drop in winning lines against the SaberScore metric. For example, winning lines from 5,000 a month ago were in the range of 94 to 97, but past 2 weeks I have seen 81 to 91 range, sometimes even lower. So has anything major changed to cause this? As far as I know, no, we haven't made any updates to how SaberScore works. We are always, making small improvements to the model. Any updates that we make, we post an update in the release notes in the Discord. We have been doing a lot of bug fixes, toward the end of the year. We like to try and knock out a lot of bugs in the system. Scott's been doing a great job managing that, posting updates for everyone to read and to see. So if you're interested in, keeping up with the builder and all the changes that go on day in, day out, I would check out the release notes channel in the Discord. But as far as the SaberScore metric, no changes in recent memory here. I think, this is an example of variance, right? Looking at, I don't know how long of a samples you are looking at here, if you're looking at these every day, but it could definitely change throughout the year, right? You'll see some low saber scores winning, you'll see some high saber scores winning, you'll see some middling saber scores winning. That is variance. A saber score is an approximation of what we perceive to be a lineup's expected value in a contest. If we were to run the contest, 100,000 times, it is, by no means what is exactly going to happen on a one given instance of a slate happening, which is what actually happens in real life. So we try and approximate it the best we can. That is not to say, I think the EV of your lineups from your top saber score, to your 500th lineup, right, is probably a lot closer than you might think. And, maybe SaberScore makes it seem like there's a much bigger gap between the lineups. But I think that, what I like to do is I like to focus on building a pool of lineups that I'm comfortable playing every lineup in the pool, regardless of, the saber score, the rank, whatever way I am grading the lineups. The only time, I actually know I even do something similar like that for Showdown. I was going to say doing it different for Showdown. For Showdown, I use a little more lineup filters to put some lineups in the trash that I don't want to play. But I think that, a good starting point is that, you can only build so many lineups, right? So rather than building lineups and then like getting rid of some in the post build, you should be trying to do things in the home screen that make you more comfortable with playing every lineup in your pool, right? Like we said, you can build millions of lineups on a 12 game NBA slate or like a 13 game NFL slate, right? There are just so many different combinations that you can make. Even if you're on the pro plan and you're building 5,000 lineups, right? That's a lot. But it's still small compared to like the total number of lineups you could build. Not saying that you would want to play every single lineup you could build, right? They could be like really low projected score, really low salary. There are plenty of lineups that you could build that are bad. But what I'm getting at is that, I think every lineup in your pool that you can play is an advantage. And if you are building 5,000 lineups, but only comfortable playing 3,000 of them, I think you're doing yourself a disservice. And I think that you should go back to the home screen and change the inputs to make them closer to what you will be okay with seeing in the post build to give yourself more lineups to choose from. And I think that is like the key takeaway there is, if you are like really, really concerned about SaberScore, there's no way to say, don't build SaberScores over 60. SaberScore is relative. It's standardized to 100, but don't let that turn you off from going deeper into your pool. If you have done things in the home screen, limiting player pool, doing player pool curation, limiting stack types, putting in rules you don't want, etc. Don't let that stop you from playing lower projected or lower SaberScore lineups just because the SaberScore is low, right? So kind of my thoughts there. Open to any feedback or rebuttal there, and then we can talk about it further. But looking through here, no more questions in the YouTube chat and no more questions in the Discord. If you guys have questions, now is a great time to get them in. I'm going to stick around for a couple more minutes here, waiting to see if any more questions come in. I see Ramesses is typing, got some more live viewers here. So just in case anybody missed it at the start of the show, Jordan is going to be doing an interview with Will and Eric from the models team at 5 p.m. Eastern today, talking about the updates they've made to the golf model. A lot of work has went into them and a lot of awesome stuff happening behind the scenes there. So if you guys have any questions about golf strategy or what the model accounts for, what it doesn't account for, you want to ask about weather, that is the perfect time to get those questions in. So you can get those questions in early in the office hours channel or in the golf channel. Post them in either one. I'm going to skip any golf related questions for the time being, so that way they can have a queue of questions to answer. But should be a fun show. Looking forward to tuning in myself and hearing what they have to say. But should be a really good show there. All right. We're going to let Ramesses finish this thought here, and we will move on from there. Big 12 game NBA slate. And if you guys played NBA yesterday, you guys saw all of the OKC chalk get there. Scored 150 points. I think that was like the best score in like team history with no Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So was a pretty crazy short slate there. All right. Ramesses said that he is going to take his thoughts offline. Ramesses, if you ever want to, get a question in, we can start a thread in the Office Hours channel and go from there. But that being said, everybody, that was our last question. Don't miss our show later today in related to the golf model and golf strategy. We'll be right back here tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern for our Thursday show. So until then, good luck in your contest, and I will see you all later. Take care.